G'day mate and welcome to Capital Industry with me, Jetty. Today I want to complete my set of upgradable smelters because I enjoy Capital Industry. I enjoy unlocking new technology, I enjoy learning new things, I enjoy the fact that we need to rebuild things as we upgrade our technology. The one thing that I didn't enjoy was having to rebuild especially smelters because I didn't leave a tile here or a tile there, wherever I needed to actually just upgrade the smelters in place. So that led to this little mini series of upgradable smelter designs, and we've already covered iron, plus we've covered steel and copper and now glass, and they're linked up the top right hand corner. They're also going to be pinned down in the comments section below. And today we're completing the set by doing quartz, of course. Quartz is the last thing we need to cover, so I figured it should have its own dedicated video. Also, quartz is super late in the game, so it should be fairly easy with just two different versions, being the Arc Furnace Mark 1 and the Arc Furnace Mark 2. Now, a couple of things I'd like to get through just early in the video before we get too sidetracked into the more complicated things on how to actually build an upgradable smelter. First one is I'd like to borrow a like. Just like to borrow a like right now. You're not happy with the video, you can have it back later. At the same time, I do want to remind you there's going to be chapters down the bottom, although there's probably only going to be 2, maybe 3 chapters, we'll see. And the last thing is I do post high resolution screenshots of the final build with the grid overlay on my Discord server. You'll find a link to that in the description below. You'll find them pinned in the Captive Industry channel with the corresponding video. But with that out of the way, we need to talk about quartz smelting. Now, quartz smelting, it's pretty easy. It's also really late game. If we look at the tech tree, we're right up the far end. We get silicon smelting right here. This is going to be our first upgrade, well, our first version of the Arc Furnace. And then we get an upgraded version, the Arc Furnace Mark 2 right here, where the Arc Furnace Mark 2 is going to require a few additions, but we need to start with the Arc Furnace Mark 1. Now, because this doesn't have recycling, that's one thing we don't have to worry about, but it also is already after exhaust filtration. So we're going to put that into the first build straight from the get-go. As always, we're going to start building inside one of these squares, and I do that because, well, some people like canning tiles, other people don't. I don't like canning tiles, so we're going to start with placing down the first one, and then I'm going to talk all references from the very first smelter. So we're going to put down the first arc furnace here. I'm going to have one tile up from the bottom and one tile in from this square, and we're going to make sure the slag's on the outside, same as every other smelter, every other upgradable smelter we've done up until today. Next one is we're going to put the next one right beside it with a one tile gap. We're also going to flip it with the F button to make sure that the slag is on the outside and the exhaust is in the middle. With that done, we're going to come around to the rear, and then we need to get our belts. Now, quartz requires 3 inputs at this stage, plus the slag output. So we're going to need to bring in the belts. We're going to put the first belt along the bottom. That's going to be the quartz. Second belt is actually going to be a flat belt because we're going to want to put graphite on it, and I'm going to come up one tile and I'm going to run that over the top. Our third belt is going to be for the coal, because we do need to bring in coal. We're going to run that at the third tile up, and then finally we have the slag belt. The slag belt may try and attach to the belt underneath. What you want to do is you want to turn off the magnetism of your belts so they don't try and attach to one another by pressing the R button. Turns off the little magnet, and we can run our slag belt over the top. Now, you may ask, why am I running graphite at tier 2 and not at tier 3, whereas everything up until this stage has probably had coal at tier 2 with graphite you're not really being used yet, and that is because eventually you're going to swap over to Arc Furnace Mark 2s, and graphite is going to be replacing your coal belt for every other smelter design except quartz. And that's going to come in and replace the coal line, which was already at height number 2. Okay, with that done, we're going to plug it in our belt. So we're going to need to bring in quartz and quartz, along with bringing in the graphite, which will be at the far end on both sides, that one, and then we're going to need to bring in the coal in here, and down my belt there. Come on, there. All right, then we can come around the front of the machines. So the front of the machines, we'll deal with the slag first. So slag we're going to bring out. We're going to come left one tile and back one tile. Then we're going to bring it up to our belt stack. We're going to run it to height 3. We're going to move it in one tile and then connect it in. And then we need to do the exact same on the other side. So again, we're going to grab that belt. We're going to come out to the right one tile, or out from the middle one tile. Let's go with that analogy. Then back one tile, we're going to click. Then we're going to come up to height 3, click in one tile, and then hook that up to the slag belt. That is the easy part. The next thing is we need to handle the exhaust. So we're going to bring the exhaust pipe right across the front at height 1. We're going to plug that into, well, our exhaust scrubber. Finally, we're going to grab a tiny pipe. We're going to bring that from the exhaust away from the middle and up one tile. Then that leads us into our Silicon reactors. Okay, our silicon reactors, we want to put these down 3 tiles. Yes, and we want to put them in, yes, 3 tiles. Had to double check. Okay, 3 tiles, and we want to make sure the hydrogen is facing away from our arc furnaces themselves. Okay, and these are going to process 12 molten silicon. Each this arc furnace Mark 1 makes 24 molten silicon. So we want to have 2 of these side by side facing in towards the middle, and then we want to do the exact same on the other side. Again, we want to make sure that that hydrogen is facing away from the arc furnaces. Next is the molten channels. We're going to grab a molten channel from the closest to the inside, bring it out the 3 tiles, and then we need to bring it out to line up with that slag output belt. Yes, and then bring it into the first machine, and then into the second machine, and then do the same on the other side. We need to come out, and then in, and then over to there, and then over to there. Okay, finally our output. We're going to grab an output belt. Can I grab a flat connector, please? And we're going to come, well, actually, let's grab an arc furnace. So we're going to put in an arc furnace for spacing. That's the only reason it's there. Then we're going to grab our flat connector, and we're going to come from the end of the arc furnace, press the F button, so we go straight across the back of it, and I want to plug into the first molten reactor. Then we're going to come from there and plug into the second set of molten reactors. Then we're going to come on 1 tile so we get that extra connector. Then we can get rid of you, and I can get rid of the arc furnace we use as spacing. Next thing is, of course, our hydrogen gas, because we need to bring in hydrogen to run these guys. We're going to bring a pipe right across the back at height number 1, and then we're going to bring that over at height number 1, and we're going to hang it, well, as far down as we really want. We've got a couple of extra tiles to play with, so we're just going to leave it hanging out a little bit long. Then we're going to run into silicon reactor 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then finally we're going to throw down a storage container at the end of our build. With all that done, it should be a case of just uni-build everything, and then hook up our little belts from our first build. So that's belt 1, belt 2, I don't need the third belt, that's for slag, and belt 3. Also, I need to bring over my hydrogen from the previous build, and that's the best thing about these builds. They are 100% tileable, and that should be our very first arc furnace, our very first version. Now, this is going to bring in the quartz, the coal, and the graphite. Also, it's going to dispose of the slag, which we will just plug into our slag dump box. Great. Also, it's going to bring in our hydrogen, as I said, at height number 1, in and feed these 4 little reactors. Now, this is going to get you enough quartz to get up and running. It's not going to give you a lot of quartz, but the biggest thing when it comes to arc reactors is they no longer get most of their fuel from coal, they actually get most of their fuel from electricity. As these need 750 kilowatts each, that means for a pair you need 1.5 megawatts. They are super late game, but that's also an awful lot of power for you to deal with. So it's something to definitely keep in mind. But with these guys up and running, we should have them popping out our silicon poly reasonably quickly, filling up our storage, at which point the trucks will take away and empty the storage. So this is our first version. Obviously, from there, we get to upgrade these to an Arc Furnace Mark 2. Let's upgrade one of them to an Arc Furnace Mark 2. And the whole point of these smelters, we can do them in place. So I want to upgrade you, which is going to, first off, wipe out the recipe. So you're going to need to re-enable the brand new recipe, which is now going to take in 48 quartz compared to the old one, which took in 24. It's still going to take in 6 coal, same as the old one took in 6 coal. Also going to take in 3 graphite, same as the old one took in 3 graphite, but now it's going to output 48 molten silicon. It also now needs water, and it's going to output low pressure steam. So we have 2 new inputs we need to deal with, along with twice the amount of output of the molten silicon. So we're going to start with water first. Water is going to come, steam first. We're going to start with our steam pipe. It's going to go right above our exhaust pipe, and you just need to dispose of that steam. In my case, I'm going to use a large cooling tower, and we want to run our steam pipe at height 2 right over the front of the exhaust, which means my output pipe for my steam is going to go up to height number 2 and then in towards the middle. And the same time, I will preemptively upgrade the other one with the exact same design. Okay, so that's going to be our steam, which we will get up and running. Can I get all that built, and all that built, along with the front end built? Okay, also at the same time, I need to bring in water in the back. Please don't deliver things, trucks. You're going to ruin the experiment. Sheesh, bad trucks. Okay, what I want to do is I want to bring in water in the rear. So we're going to grab our water and we're going to bring it past the rear of the machine at height number 2 and slide it through this gap. Now, same story, we want to grab a pipe, and because we are at height 2, I want to go up 2 tiles and I also want to go out 2 tiles. And we'll upgrade you as well, so you're ready to go when we actually upgrade the furnace. With those 2 done, it should mean that you should get more clean water in. Can I turn that off and delete the recipe and then start it up again? Thank you. That means we should get clean water in. We should also be able to dispose the steam. Now, we are producing twice as much molten silicon, which means we need to add a couple more reactors at the front. We luckily left exactly the right amount of tiles that we can add in 2 more right here. Also means we need to bring on our molten channel into the first one, into the second one. Also, that gas pipe that we left hanging out the front, we need to bring that down 2 tiles. Take it around the corner at height 1 still, and then finally drop it into the far machine, and then do the same with the middle machine. As for our connections here, we're just going to run our belts this direction and a belt this direction away from our 2 reactors, and that's just going to put a little connector on each one of them, even though we're using ghost belts, which we're instantly going to remove. With that done, where's my water? With that done, you should be up and running and you're firing up. It also means you're going to dump your steam into the cooling tower, which will then loop the water back around and around and around. Also means the second arc furnace, we can just upgrade in position. We need to add in the 2 extra poly reactors, yep, and also plug in the molten channel 1, molten channel 2, gas pipe for the hydrogen, which we need to run from there to there and then drop that in and then run that in there as well. And finally, we can uni boost the whole lot, which means with you upgraded, all your pipes should magically connect if I put them in the right spot. Oh, and we need to enable the recipe again. Yeah, okay, with the recipe enabled, you are getting water in, and hopefully helps if we actually turn off some of these overlays. We should see steam in that pipe right there. And that is our upgraded smelter design. In place, nice and simple. We built the first one, we upgraded in place. We didn't have to move our storage. We didn't have to realign anything. All we had to do was add in the water front and back, and we already added in exhaust scrubbing as part of the build because we already have that technology. So that is our Quartz designs up and done. The other thing about this, which is something I really like the fact of, we can, if I can line up the tiles correctly, from the front to here, and then we can overlap everything. This is probably not going to work because I have too many extras. Okay, let's try and trim things to the length they're meant to be. You need to be trimmed to there and there. If I do that, and I need to trim all those to be the correct length as well. Okay, now we've done that, we should be able to copy the exact build. So I need to come from that tile to the end or the edge of the build up to all the belts at the back, and then I should be able to overlap this by exactly 1 tile and drop this in place. Now, a couple of things you're going to notice. One is the molten channel at a left-hand machine is missing. So we need to replace that, and that merges into this existing channel. On top of that, the slag belt is missing. So we need to merge that in, and they should be the only 2 things that are missing. You may have to double check the pipes to make sure the pipes went in, but if you've done it correctly, and you are also missing because you weren't entered in the connector. But if you double check your connections, you should be able to just double the smelters up, and you guys should get hydrogen. Yes, you all have hydrogen. Excellent. Hydrogen is making its way through the pipe. Yep. Everybody down this side has hydrogen. You have water. Yep. And you're processing, and your processing as well. Which means if you want to upgrade your smelters, it is as quick and easy as copying the whole thing, pasting it right beside, double checking your connections. Your other option is you can have a one tile gap. This is why we put these zigzags at the back, so we can have one build zigzag out from the next build. But it should be quick and easy to just copy, paste, duplicate, and upgrade your smelting like that. Oh, actually, I missed one more. You didn't get built. There we go. Also means that, yes, you're going to output 48 and 48 molten silicon. And, of course, the molten channels move 120. So we haven't hit our throughput limits there. And, yes, we can mirror this as many times as we want. It all depends on how big you want to build. But with all that said, that is the end of the video. It's a quick, easy build. It's a quick, easy upgrade. More importantly, it upgrades in place. And I do love that builds upgrade in place. Just being able to upgrade from every single smelter from the start to the end without having to do any giant, massive rebuilds saves so much time and heartache. Anyway, with all that said, I'm going to leave this video here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more tutorial videos like this, because there is a number of other Capital Industry tutorial videos I need to cover still. Also, don't forget to check that playlist if you're interested in the other Capital Industry tutorial videos I've done, or interested in, well, the other upgradable smelters. Anyway, with all that said, as I said, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.